Hey guys, what's up? Shin0525 coming at you with another video. And before the video begins, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share it. That really does help me out. Other than that, let's get into today's video. And I want to talk about Final Fantasy scaling. And this is a phenomenon I've noticed for a while now. So I've been a Final Fantasy fan ever since the PlayStation 2. Final Fantasy X was my first one, and then I went back and I played a lot of the other ones. I still haven't I don't think I've finished 2 yet. I know I didn't finish 1. I beat 3, 4, haven't played 5, haven't finished 6, but I played 7, haven't finished 8, haven't finished 9. Yeah, I got really close to the end of 9. But then I played 10, 12, and 13. And I played 15 as well. And I still have 16 to get to. I actually really want to play that one. But I've been a Final Fantasy fan for a while now. And one thing I've noticed, like, growing up with it, is these games get better over time. So I remember when, like, Final Fantasy X came out, that was a very divisive game. A lot of people either absolutely loved it or hated it. I was in the I was kind of okay category. But again, I would probably go to more along the lines of like, I didn't like it. But over time, that sentiment has changed. And I think a big reason why it changed is because a lot of the later Final Fantasy games get like, I don't want to say worse, but they get like more and more different where you look back at these older games, you're like, you know what, that really wasn't that bad. So again, like one of the reasons why I think like 10 is so fondly remembered today is because 13 sucked so bad. Like people played Final Fantasy 13 and they were like, this game is horseshit. And then they looked at like they went back and looked at 10 like, no, 10 really isn't that bad. You know, like I know like a big complaint was that it was really linear, but like compared to 13, that game's pretty freaking open. Like it's just so funny, and it's just like it's a like phenomenon that I noticed where it's just like the later Final Fantasy games have become so divisive and so weird that it actually makes the older games in the franchise look better by comparison. Like the older games is like you played like 15 and then you go back and you play Final Fantasy 12 and you're like, you know, 12 wasn't that bad. I know it was like really different, but like compared to like where they're going and what we got, it's not that bad. So it's just a weird thing that I noticed where, like, the more Final Fantasy games come out and how, like, different they are. And again, I hesitate to say the word how, like, they're worse, so you go back and play the older games, like, that really isn't that bad. Because, like, they aren't, I wouldn't say, like, worse, but they're just so different that it makes you appreciate the older games more, where you're just like, wow, we actually did have it a lot better back in the day. We didn't realize how bad we could have had it with this franchise. So, yeah, and it's like a little, and then, like, I noticed it because, like, I saw the, when the Final Fantasy X, like, remaster came out, a lot of people were more positive towards it than when it initially came out. Because, again, 10 was pretty divisive. It was the first game on the PlayStation 2. It looked like a movie, but it was very linear. The story was kind of, yeah. I do think the story's kind of alright, but, it definitely was not on par with what was coming out on the PlayStation 1 with, like, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. 10 was definitely a departure, and, but again, like, really, after, like, games like 13 came out, 15 came out, and then we had, and then when the Final Fantasy X Remastered came out, I think people, like, playing the later games and realizing how much of a departure they were from, like, kind of like where Final Fantasy was, I think people looked back at 10 and they were just like, you know, this game isn't that bad. It's actually really good. Like, you could just be driving a stupid car for most of the game, like in 15. Or just walking down hallways the entire game, like in 13. And it didn't feel the need to make a needless trilogy no one asked for. So, honestly, like, 13's, or like, Final Fantasy X ain't that bad. 12's not that bad either. I remember when 12 came out, a lot of people didn't like it. Just because it was like that MMO style combat, it was different. But with a little bit of time and some hindsight, it's like people do realize like Final Fantasy 12 was a solid fucking game. I actually really liked 12. But yeah, no, it's just like this weird phenomenon where like I'm gonna call it like Final Fantasy scaling, where like a lot of these older games that might have been like divisive when they first came out, like 10, suddenly get better after like even more divisive and like arguably worse games come out later in the series. So I definitely think Final Fantasy scaling is a real thing. And it makes me wonder how I'm going to feel about, like, Final Fantasy 13 maybe, like, 10 years from now or 20 years from now when, I don't know, Final Fantasy 20 is, like, this worst game in the, like, in the franchise. And you go back and be like, you know, 13 wasn't that bad now that I think about it. So, yeah, anyway, it's just, like, a funny, like, phenomenon I noticed and just wanted to talk about it. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Are you a Final Fantasy fan? Have you noticed this kind of Final Fantasy scaling going on? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, thanks, bye. Later.